What's up, guys? We're here this week with Jessie Washington, our chef Jessie Washington, as I said. He's a chef and creator of the famous Soulfood Burrito that's been featured on Food Network. He also has Brunchaholics that is every Saturday and Sunday at Soiree Coffee Bar in Dallas, and he also has Handhouse that's at DFW Pop-Up, which is like a little pop-up shop downtown.
Yeah, it's a pop-up DFW in Deep Ellum, and it's black-owned. So they're both black-owned, actually.
Oh yeah, so super dope. And he also has a cookbook and apparel on that at like brunchaholics.com. So super excited to have him here. And so I got a little background story. You started Brunchaholics, or did you start just doing the Soulfood Burrito 2 years ago, or how did this all come about?
All right, so basically I started Brunchaholics in like 2015, and I started out brunch blogging because I was still working and stuff. I was like, I graduated, I'm working my career, whatever. So I was doing Brunchaholics as like brunch blogs. So on the weekends, I get my friends together, we go try different places, I write blog posts, whatever, right?
That's dope. Like just different places in Dallas?
No, I still live in Houston then.
Oh, okay. So was it like trying to find the best Sunday fun day turnout?
Kind of
or
like that.
Food, or like just what was all around dope brunch?
Just trying different stuff out, and really I had kind of just discovered brunch like a year before that, and I was like, bro, this is better than going out at night, like day party.
You just discovered brunch, like the whole thing?
No, I'm saying like I came across it. Like
yeah.
I went and I was like, dang, that's when bottomless mimosas was a thing. So I was like, hey, these Sunday fun days is dope. So I started brunch blogging. As I was doing that, I was still serious about like cooking. Like I've always been into cooking. I always wanted to like at least have a food truck or something. So I started taking that more serious. So when I made that transition, I stopped brunch blogging and just basically used Brunchaholics as the business name for my company, pretty much. Okay. And then it just kind of rolled from there.
So then you told me 2 years ago you started full time, right?
Yeah, like fall of 2018. I started at the farmer's market in August of that same year, and then by the time November rolled around, I basically got fired. But business was already taking off, so I just transitioned to that full time, and I haven't had a job since. So I haven't worked for anybody else.
So when you started the farmer's market, was it just like you made this amazing burrito and your friends were like, yo, you gotta sell this? Or what made you even start doing the farmer's market, that whole thing?
So when I first started the farmer's market, I didn't even sell the burrito at first. When I first moved to Dallas, which was like 2016-ish, I was still working and I was like catering and doing private dinners and stuff on the side, right? And just trying to get my name out there, whatever. And then I met Brandon, Bam's Vegan. I met him through mutual friends I went to college with. I grew up with him, and he was telling me how he was about to apply for the farmer's market. And he was like, you should too, And I was like, oh, I'll look into it. So I applied, got it. And before I got to the farmer's market, I was just cooking stuff on my Brunchaholics page, just trying to get it to pop, basically. So every week I would just make something different, record like it as I do the walkthrough of it and the post. And so one of those was the Soulfood Burrito. But I didn't think nothing of it. I remember when I first posted, you can probably go on my page, and I think it has like maybe like 50 likes. And
really?
and so I, posted that, whatever. So when I started, fast forward to August, I started the farmer's market. People started coming asking for it. They had like follow me, and I was like, no, I just made that for fun. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is what I'm selling, And then they kept happening week after week. More and more people were asking. I was like, well, maybe I should sell it. So I was like, man, I'm gonna sell it one weekend. Yeah. And then I sold it, and I guess basically people, was telling other people about it, whatever, and it just kind of like started slowly taking off. I got an article written on me about it, and then about just like how my different brunch menu items were, and that was in like September after only being at the market for like a month. And then that article, somebody at Food Network noticed it, and then they wrote like the article about the burrito on Food Network.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, and so it just kind of blew from there, and it just kind of just became its own thing. Like I really wasn't even trying to sell it. I was like, oh, whatever. And it's just like, it's crazy.
So when you started that, would you say, I saw something interesting. It was just like, because I know obviously starting this podcast and like starting like my website with like Wee Kids and stuff like that, they're always like, if you start your own shit, pretty much you always know you know who your friends are, you know, like don't expect your friends to support you. Strangers will support you more than your friends. So what was going through that? Do you feel like you had a lot of support going in? Like were your friends in line every weekend or like shouting you out and doing that? Or was it more like strangers and people?
It's a combo of both, but I did add a little strategy to why I moved here too. So I went to Texas Tech. Most of the people who go to Texas Tech, at least when I was there, majority of them were from Dallas. So I was like, when I was in Houston, you know, I was kind of just spinning my wheels. I was just like, man, if I moved to Dallas and I start this off, I already have a built-in support system because everybody I went to school with lives in Dallas knows I can cook. I used to cook at school, barbecues, whatever, right?
Oh, okay.
So I was like...
So you wanted, before you moved, you were like, I want to transition to cooking.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. So I remember, like I said, I ain't got fired here, but I used to get fired all the time, basically. So, I mean, I talk shit, and I don't do well with authority, so I used to always end up getting fired. So, I got fired one time and I was like, all right, forget it. I was like, I'm getting older. Like I have to see like where this can take me because it's something I, you know, was passionate about. So I just started working at Shell Corporate in their like catering department or whatever. Okay. And I made like a fake resume. I lied on it. Like I was just trying to get in there, and then they basically...
Who hasn't lied on their resume?
So I got in there. One dude took me under his wing and just taught me a lot of stuff. So I always knew how to like cook and season, but I didn't understand technique. So in a lot of times in cooking, technique is what's going to help take that over the top, or why it can still have good flavor but be cooked wrong. It could be tough, whatever. So what I learned there was a lot of good technique, and then I would go home and I would practice. I would watch Food Network. I would like survey it. I would watch every show, whatever. I would try things. If there was something I didn't know how to make, I would go practice it. And I did that for like, you know, I worked there I think a year and a half, and I was already doing it before I started working there. So some of the people up there were impressed with me. I remember I used to work on the hibachi grill at first, and I like always burn my knuckles. And they put me on catering after that because they saw I could like cook and I knew what I was doing for the most part. And then I just kind of grew from there. And then when I got comfortable, I was like, all right, I'm gonna take this to Dallas. And then because I have a support system there, and I feel like in Houston nothing was really happening for me, so I needed I wanted just fresh scenery pretty much. So I got a job out here and I moved.
So before coming though, you knew you had friends out here, so you were kind of like expecting them to like support you. Yeah. And you came in.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say expecting, but all my friends knew that's what I wanted to do, and they knew I could cook. So that's also too, being with them and us hanging out or them coming to visit, whatever. And they're like, man, when you gonna start doing your stuff? When you gonna start doing your stuff?
So they definitely encouraged you.
Yeah, so they was like, I have a really good support system. I appreciate all my friends. They hold it down. I mean, from when I was out there by myself, to them coming to get food and seeing that I'm busy and just getting back there and helping me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just all that. You know, them not wanting any money for it. You know, I just had a really good support system.
That's dope.
My sister lives here, so her and my brother-in-law would come down and help me. So,
oh, wow. Because so recently I asked my Instagram because I just wondered, because people, I think a lot of times when you start stuff, you look at like, okay, basically, who am I? What do I have to work with? And obviously, like, you moved to Dallas because you knew you had a support system there. You just look around. So I asked Instagram, I was like, you know, if you know your friend is starting a business, do you automatically support them? Or is it like they have to be doing something that like you're fucking with that you're going to support them? And because, you know, like, especially for, I would say a lot of people now, people do different things, especially social media. It's very easy to kind of start your own, not easy to start your own thing, but it's easy to put yourself saying you're gonna do something and then like comes over. And surprisingly, a good amount of people did say they would support. I think, yeah, it was like 79% said that, yeah, of course, they would support the person, and then like only a fourth is like, only if they're doing something I don't like or something I like. But the big one I asked, because I know for me, because I'm starting like my kids and stuff, sometimes people ask or they don't ask for a discount. No one's really asked for a discount, but I always wonder, I'm supposed to send freebies, but it like costs me to make it and stuff like that. And so I was like, do people expect a friends and family discount? So when you're friends, I say you're cooking, so you're a chef, so do you automatically, or is it asked or is it implied? Do you automatically do it. Say if they want you to, I don't know, because a lot of stuff you probably would be invited to. I don't want to work there. I don't really want to work someone's like birthday or wedding or something.
Yeah, it's half and half. So starting out, that's how I helped build like a lot of my brand or a lot of clients early was people I knew. And when you get into, I guess, quote unquote, the game, you don't know what to charge. You don't know whatever. You break even a lot because you underestimated how much food was going to cost compared to what you charge this person.
Oh yeah.
So with my friends, it was never like them asking for a discount. It was always them just really trying to support and help get my name out there. So for me, especially starting out, I was just like, okay, I'll give them a good price, or what I felt was a good price, and because at that point in time, I didn't know what my price was, you know.
Well, yeah, because it's hard. You don't want to oversell yourself because you're like, who am I? But then at that same time, like, I feel like your friends also, and you don't want to overcharge them, but also like, I saw something, it's like your friends' brands are designer. So like, you should always kind of hold yourself to that standard. But I think it's hard because, you know, especially cooking wise and stuff like that, people go out and they'll spend a lot of money at like maybe a restaurant, or I don't know, what's the most expensive restaurant in Dallas?
Salt Bay.
Salt Bay has a restaurant here?
It just opened a few weeks ago.
Is he there?
He was, I think, like the first week, but I don't think he's there anymore. I think he lives in like Dubai or something.
So do I still have to pay Salt Bay prices if he's not there?
Yeah.
Who's like sprinkling my shit?
I don't know. I heard he has lookalikes, but I don't know if that's true or not. But I know he's there. I saw some of the ticket prices. I saw some of the prices.
Tickets?
Like they like your ticket. You sign it, then like.
Oh, he signs your
no,
bill.
I mean like your bill, yeah.
Is that what they call it? The ticket? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what we call it.
I was like, you have to have a ticket to go to the restaurant? What?
Yeah. So
he signs it.
No, I'm saying I looked at people's receipts on the internet, and he has like a gold. He has a gold.
Do I get an autograph for going to Salt Bay's restaurant? Like, what is this ticket? I don't get it. Sorry.
But yeah, I think that's probably the most expensive restaurant here. That probably not. I think Nick and Sam's is pretty pricey depending on what you get. Bob's Chop and Steakhouse.
So
yeah, I know there's this place in Addison that I'm thinking of. I can't remember their name. And there's one in Grapevine. It's like by Winewood. If you've never been there, it's a good restaurant too.
So do you ever like go to similar places and like see if like, you know, if they're doing this, like I should, or not like that?
If I go a place, I more so pick up on like, I look at the ambiance they have, or the way that they do service, or
like customer service, how they treat people?
Not necessarily how they treat people, more so how they run it. You know, there's counter service, there's full service, there's we're just gonna come clean your stuff up. It's about it. You know, there's different different ways restaurants run. So I look at the way they run. Maybe that's a better way to look at it. And it's when I look at the menu, I look at how big it is, how many items they have, and then how like pricey it is, and then I compare like a lot of that to probably the quality of the place I'm eating at. At the same time, I know where I'm at when I'm doing that. Some places it's just like, okay, I'm here to eat, or I'm here for a friend's birthday, et cetera, or we're at a bar, you know. But I try to pick up different things that I like or appreciate at different restaurants. As far as menus, not really. I might get some inspiration because they may have flipped something different. But other than that, I feel like most places honestly sell all about the same food. It's different variations, it's different things. So that's why I try to cater my menu the way I do, and I think of things that I would like to eat. Like when I go to a restaurant and you're like, man, I bet their food's good, but I wish I had something like this. And you have an idea in your head, but they're not selling that.
Well, I'm problematic. So if I go to certain restaurants and like, this is terrible. I view it kind of as a grocery store. So I'm that person. That's why I can't go to a lot of chain places. I do. So every time I say I'm going out to eat, I look at the menu before I go, because I don't like, there's always something good and then they gotta add something or like a sauce. I'm not a big like gravy, like weird, like creamy stuff. So I'll be like, I don't know. I always want like to change something. So typically I go to places that I know that they're making it like fresh kind of, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, cause you know.
You like to be difficult? Pretty much.
Yes. So like, you know, I can't really go to chains because I mean, mind you, I was a host before. I've never worked behind the scenes, but I assume the prep, it's a lot of like, you can't alter the stuff like that.
It depends on where you at. So you're right, a restaurant that does make everything fresh, you can alter a lot more than a place that might be like using things that are like pre-breaded and frozen or something like that. But you also have to understand the menu. Like, you might ask for fries. You're thinking curly fries, they have straight fries. And that's not something you're gonna be like, well, where the curly fries at? You know?
Yeah, no, I don't do that. I'm not that extreme. Like, I'm not, but I'll be like, if something, I'll be like, can you just not put that on there? Or can you just not have like, I'll say like, maybe like nuts is probably something. Like, I can be like, can you not put the nuts in there? And the numbers of times the places go, they're like, oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I think as long as it's not already made into what it is, like let's say it's a sauce, but the way they make the sauce, it has meat in it, but you don't eat meat, you still want the sauce. Like, that might be a situation.
See, I've never been that extreme.
I
would just be like, no sauce, and then I'll be like, what other sauces do you have? Oh, can you put that on there?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's like halfway difficult, right? Like, I'm not full.
But
I can only go to places like that I know if they, but that's because I like, you know, different steakhouses, you know, because that stuff is mainly a la carte. You know, you kind of build your meals.
True.
Because, you know, it's add-on sides and stuff like that. But you said customer service and stuff. Do you feel now, you work with all Black-owned places, right? Is that something you did consciously, or is that just how it worked out?
It just honestly just kind of worked out that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you noticed since the recent, because, you know, since obviously, it's crazy, the George Floyd trial is going on right now. But since that's when the kind of the Black-owned thing was really pushed nationwide. Not, you know, we've always supported Black. We always support Black at HiHighHunnies. But you know, nationwide, everyone's woke, so everyone's like pushing. So did you see an increase of people coming and seeking you out because of that, or?
Yeah, when I reopened, because I took some time off too, right around like April. I took some time off because at that point I was like, all right, you know, it's crazy I say the numbers going up when they were way worse after that, but at that point in time it was such panic and everything. I was like, I don't know what this is, so I kind of took a break from everything. Yeah. And then right before that happened, the guy who owns Pop-Up DFW saw me at the farmer's market and was like, hey, you know, I have this place, you can do pop-ups here or whatever, you know, let me know. And I was like, okay, cool. And then they basically shut everything down after that. So I was able to like do like to go and curbside from his place for a few weeks after that before I took that break. And then I took a break for basically about 2 months. And when I came back, basically the George Floyd thing had happened, people were still protesting. So that, I know that type of like support was crazy, you know?
Yeah, that's because that was the big Buy Black. Wasn't there a Blackout Tuesday, right? Where like it was like only Buy Black Thursday, or no, I'm thinking of two different things. There was like a blackout day where like the black squares, and then there was like a Buy Black Day as well. But I mean, definitely, you know, Uber Eats did the whole Black-owned restaurant things on there. I think I order. I'm a very problematic day. Yes, I order. I use a lot of like food apps, and I remember like they had a Black-owned, you know. Do they still have that?
The Black-owned, what, on Uber Eats or whatever?
Yeah, like Uber Eats, Postmark, or Postmates. They had a Black-owned, you know, section. I guess that sounds so black section. Wow. Anyways,
I know what you're talking about when they had it on the topic.
Yeah, they had it on the topic, and they did free delivery for all our for that month they did, Amazon had like any black themed movie was on Amazon for free that month. Like everywhere was basically very.
It popped up a lot. I mean, some of it was authentic, a lot of it was pandering.
Yeah.
But
but it definitely.
But it did bring a lot of awareness, and it gave a lot of people more exposure.
Which is dope.
And more business, and it was like very beneficial, not only for me, but I feel like a lot of people in a time where like a lot of people weren't employed.
Yeah.
Weren't sure what was going to happen next. You know, it was still very like. Scary pretty much for a lot of people. So
did your crowd diversify? Well, you're in farmers market too, so I feel like you kind of had a diverse crowd in the beginning, right?
I mean, it's definitely majority black, but there's it's an okay mix. Now it's definitely I think more black. But
oh really?
Yeah, just because of that, I feel like and just from switching locations. Because at the farmer's market, it's people there coming to see me, but it's also walk-up traffic.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Walk-up
it's
traffic,
like
it could
that.
be anyone. But when I moved to the other place, it was deeper in Deep Ellum. You know, it's not many people walking around, especially not in a pandemic. So those people were coming there strictly to just get my food. So it was a little different dynamic. And so I think with that and the whole Buy Black push, that's, basically my customer base, but it's always been that. So, it's just so. Yeah,
that's definitely being like, because you own, your restaurant. So the people who work there, they're not yours, they're Sorays, correct?
The ones with the Brunchaholics shirts are mine, but they're just plate runners basically. So we try to do it as like counter service, and we'll bring your food out to you. You have your number, and then you come and and then you eat.
That's right.
And then if you need something else, you go to the counter. Now we have somebody going around with like an iPad that's walking around. They can take more orders like that, so you don't have to get back in line.
Oh, for more food?
Yeah, if you want more food or mimosas, whatever.
Yeah.
But those people who run that bring the food out basically work for me. Everyone else, the baristas, the people with the mimosas, the people busting the tables, those are all their employees. So, but we work as like a team for the most part.
So how do you feel about the whole, I'm not gonna say reputation because I don't want to like put that, but the whole, I don't even like stereotype, but the whole idea. Okay, so I'll say Plies had a tweet about black-owned business, and they said like, dear black-owned businesses, our black business owners, stop wanting me to spend my money with you, shop with you just because you're black. Make me want to spend money with you because you have a good product, good customer service, and a good price point. Because if that's bad, I don't want it, no matter what color you is. I try to like say it correctly, but be authentic. Anyways, so I will say people like to say black-owned places have bad customer service or something like that. I'm not gonna. I've been to Soray. I've never had bad customer service from like your places or anything like that. And I'm from DC, which DC black-owned is like a lot. So DC's very diversity. A lot of black people live there. A lot of black people own businesses, restaurants, etc. So obviously, I mean, everywhere you're gonna have some bad customer service experiences. But I've never been like, I can't shop with black people because I have to go to like a corporation. But I'm saying, since you're in the restaurant industry, which is I think that's mainly kind of what people are doing that. How did you consider that going in? Like, we need to be extra this. How do you feel about that, quote unquote, reputation, or like what people say about that? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I kind of understand what he's saying. Like, you don't have to shop with, someone just because of that reason. I think a lot of people do, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, I'm very big on doing what the hell I want to do. So whatever you want to do is what you want to do. But I do think that push, it was very like good for the community, and I think it's very good for like how it brought a lot of more people together. And I think we should definitely stick together. So I feel like if that's what you're doing what's bringing you there, then keep going for it. But I think I feel like on his part too, he doesn't have to go, I guess, that hard with it. Like, oh, you expected me, da da da.
And you have bad this and that, and still expect me to be there because you're black.
Because you'll go other places and wait just as long, or deal with bad customer service, or be treated a certain way to make you wait longer, especially sometimes because you are black. Yeah. So it's like, and those people will get complaints, or you'll pretend mad, pay, have a good time, and go about it. So it's like, why not give your people's business that same grace, that same virtue? And that happens a lot. And some people like that, some people aren't. And I've noticed like there's a lot more complaints that come off than other people do regularly, like waits. Because I remember growing up, people were outside waiting for restaurants, and it's like, oh my God, I waited this long, and it's like, yo, like, you've always done that, so why is it an issue now? And I feel like that happens a lot.
But you're not a sit down. They complain about waiting.
No, I'm just saying. Oh,
okay.
I mean, I've had people say that about waiting in line for the burritos.
You're like,
but I mean,
you're at a farmer's market.
I mean, exactly, and it's like when it's like 50 people in line already.
You're not they want you to part the sea, work miracles.
It happens though, but at the end of the day, I'm just thankful to even have those issues, because it's like a lot of people in business who went out of business due to COVID, or just because support gets hard, and if people get out there and they don't always get the same type of support. So I'm always very thankful for every customer, any person that's tweeted anything, shared anything on Instagram, show somebody my food, whatever. I get people from other parts of the country to tell me like, yo, my friends out there and I see your stuff all the time, blah blah blah. I can't wait. Dope. So that's that type of support is really it feels amazing. And so I'm always thankful for that. So if it comes with any of those quote unquote complaints, whatever, so be it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say one thing people don't realize, when you go to big corporations or big corporate, like restaurants who are chains, or restaurants that even are, more established, they can cut losses easily. So, because I think a big complaint I've noticed, people always are like, well, my service was late or something, and they didn't they didn't comp my whole meal or something like that. And it's kind of like, because I think that's a big, most chains, a lot of chains and stuff, they'll be like, oh, it's fine, it's on us. But they also they have that backing to do that, which I think a lot of, I don't know, for you, do people ever ask because they waited, or, well, yours is different because it's a walk-up service, but.
Yeah, but I mean, some people ask that, and I really don't have a problem with it per se. But I also think it's kind of wild to automatically assume just because something went wrong, like you automatically get that. Like, I understand it's like crazy, or just, what I'm saying? I think it's situational. Everything's situational, basically. So I think there's different situations for it. And I don't think it's you can put a blanket like, oh yeah, you should just always get a refill for this or whatever. But I think if and the restaurant then something needs to happen. Something needs to be made right. You know what I mean? Or giving a little extra. You can give them a little extra if you don't feel like a refund. And as a business owner, if that's what you want to do. But I still think it's still a respect level to it, and I think it needs to be mutual respect. Because I think a lot of times some restaurants, I've been to places where, they knew they were wrong, but it was just like, oh, okay. Or even just customer service in general, not even just in a restaurant way. Like,
I just walk up like,
yeah, like, okay, like, come on, it could be anything from food to retail to, online type of interactions, because there's a lot of people with online business now with, where they're selling makeup, shoes, whatever. And I've heard of, those, the ups and downs of that as well. And I think, as far as customer service goes, that's probably always going to carry you through. Yeah. And because you have to have an understanding with your customers, you have to make sure you're taking care of them, because they take care of you.
Yeah, and that's what I think also people realize with COVID and everything, people are struggling. So even to go out to eat or go buy something, it still cuts in people's day-to-day budget. So it's a circle around we need each other type of thing. Like, you need them to come shop with you to keep you going, and obviously they have to spend money with it, so it's like full circle type of
Right.
thing. It's just more of like appreciation or type of value. But I would say also a lot of people I think don't work or have never worked in the customer service, or not customer service, especially restaurant industry. Because I will say, so one of my rules with dating, if I go out to eat, if you don't tip, I probably won't talk to you again. Because I worked as a host, and so I was even a server. So before doing that, I didn't realize that if you don't tip, that server is in the hole. Because a lot, especially if you order a drink, because they still have to pay out. Well, at least where I work, they had to pay out per ticket, the busboy and the bartender, whatever. So even if you don't, because where I worked in DC, I guess over in Europe, tipping, all of that's included. Like servers aren't paid what they're paid here. So a tip is like a tip, like that's an extra thing.
Yeah.
But here, that's literally what they're making. And so if you don't pay them, then it's costing them. It would cost them to serve you because they had to pay out to different people. But I'm surprised because people really equal, they don't consider tipping as part of going out. They consider that like no tip, no service, like type of thing.
You talking about
Like if you're going out to a restaurant, say your food was late and you had a waitress that wasn't, whatever, maybe she didn't come, or she or he didn't come around enough, all of that. And then so you get the bill and they don't leave, so it's a spot for a tip and you leave nothing. So that type of thing. That's what I mean by like a tip on that.
I mean,
Have you leave tips?
I tip my girl because I know what they're going through.
Yeah.
And also I know that, they're not paid like a lot. So they need the tips. The more tips they make, the more tips everybody makes, the more money everybody makes. So I get that. So I understand tipping. I don't mind tipping, but I do think it's a very thing that we've normalized. And like you pointed out, in other countries, it's not like that. And I mean, it's the same thing that people.
But they also pay them though in other countries.
Yeah, so you pay, why not pay them as well?
So you'd rather here they just pay them like regular wages.
Yeah, that's what I do with my staff. I pay them regular wages. And
Oh, really?
if they get tipped, they can keep it.
Oh, really? That's actually.
Plus, I don't have to deal with like you said, tipping people out. Because treat your workers with respect, so they take care of you too.
No, I remember I used to it used to be, and as a host, I could never, because of course I got paid hourly, but everybody else was getting paid tips or whatever. So they used to get so mad at me because someone would come in like a family of 6 from Europe. So a lot of times, this not all of them, but some people when they travel here, they don't actually read up on certain etiquette or whatever. So they didn't realize that they're supposed to tip them. So they would get a table of 6 who would order all this food, all of these drinks. So they would rack up probably $100 and some tab, and then they wouldn't tip them. But they have to still pay out the busboy off of that $100 and some tab. And they have to pay the drinks, so you have to pay out. They had to pay out the bartender on that, and I don't know the percentage. At the end of the night, the ticket tells them who they owed money for. So technically, they were in the hole because those people didn't tip them and ate because they still had to pay those other people. Because it wasn't you didn't get a tip, so the busboy gets nothing and the bartender gets nothing, type of situation.
I've never looked at it that way, but
yeah, so that's why every time.
Game.
Yeah, so that's why I've always. But I think that is smart to just pay them hourly, and I think. But
tipping is unfair too because people use it to penalize the restaurant, but they could be penalizing any portion of the restaurant. The food could be late. That has nothing to do with your waiter.
Exactly.
But a lot of people look at it as it's the waiter's fault or the waitress's fault. And the kitchen could be backed up. Somebody could be late to work. Somebody could have got sick. Somebody got hurt. Anything could happen to back up. They're overwhelmed. Basically, anything can happen. So I think people just have to keep in mind that it's more, when you're tipping or whatever, regardless if you agree with it or not, it's more than just this person in front of you.
Yeah.
You know? So I just think that, you know.
That's good. When you go through your interview process of hiring people, is that like, are there certain aspects of like customer service and things you told me before, so how do you mesh well with people? Are you good with people? So have you ever had like a customer like screaming and like in your face and stuff, or are you remove yourself from situations? How do you deal with like altercations like that?
I don't think I've ever had any like yelling. I mean, I've had some upset people, but I've never heard anybody yelling. But you basically just keep calm and talk to them, because you know, for me, I just, you know, you can just talk to me, just be calm. I'm just trying to understand what your issue is so I can fix it, so I can get the solution, you know, on the table. And that's, you know, basically how I think about it. But I also think too, some things can be diffused, or regardless if I'm there or not. But I think that kind of goes back to the whole like, something was messed up, so I deserve a discount or something free. It's kind of like, anytime it happens, it's like, let me speak to this person. Let me.
Do you have a manager, or is it just you?
I have like a people, different roles. So I would say I have like a loose manager, basically. Because I'm there for the most part most of the time. So I'm usually dealing with stuff, regardless if it's there, if I have to go run and grab something, or, you know, make sure we have enough of this in stock, whatever it may be.
So are they supposed to call you, like, so say if I come and I'm like, I want to talk to the manager, do they go to you, or do you have someone that they can go to first before it comes to you? Like, coming to you, is that like last case scenario, or you have? I
wouldn't go that far, because regardless if it's a big deal or a little deal, if there's nobody else to deal with it, then I'll deal with it. But if it's something like, basically, I think my staff does a good job of, you know, putting out fires and dealing with things too. But when they bring something to me, it might not even involve me having to go talk to the person. It could literally be something like, hey, this table said they're missing this, and I'll just be like, I was like, does it seem like somebody missing a plate or what? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, then just replace it. Like, we'll make them another one, and then I'll get one made from real quick. I was like, just wait here, we're gonna make it, take it back out to them. It'll be something like that. I don't really have to go out there to speak to them like that, because they just ask them where their food's at. So I just want them to get their food and enjoy, you know. You know, we have our good days, our bad days. But.
So it's not like you have to, so I guess for you, you mainly don't have to go out. Do you ever, is your plan eventually to open your own restaurant, or?
Yeah, that's always been the plan. That's why I would like embarked on this journey or whatever. So like at first it started out as I wanted a food truck, but then after being the farmer's market, I realized a food truck is just an extension of what I was doing there on the weekend. Because I can't store food, I can't prep the way I want, et cetera, because I want, like, when I look at my vision for everything, I know what I want to sell and I know the way I want to do it. So I need space. And so for me, it's just finding that space. So that's what I'm working on now. It's definitely coming soon, but you know, it's just working through everything else, locations and contracting. It's a big process. So just get in there and finding something that I truly want and I can execute my vision out of, because I don't want to.
Oh, so what's your vibe? Yeah, tell me, like, what is your vibe? What is your vision? Like, is it like going to be a chill spot? I know they have live music. Is that is that you wanted it, or is that, do they do that anyway?
They were gonna do something similar to that anyway. And so they, you know, just made it a part of brunch. And I don't really have an issue with it. I like it. I think it adds a nice little vibe or whatever. I have some different things planned. For me, it's honestly, everything else, all things aside, I just want the kitchen to be big.
Okay.
That's it. I want the kitchen to be big. I want enough people to be able to sit down. I don't want to have people continually roasted in the sun. I hate having to see my people like that. I want people to have somewhere to park. You know what I'm saying? All things I learned mostly at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
But you know, taking care of those people is always gonna bring your business more. Like, it's always gonna bring your business more. That's why people look at the way people love Chick-fil-A. Like, it's crazy.
Always aligned everywhere, all the time.
Their customers, they take care of them, they make sure they're okay, and they take care of their workers too.
Yeah.
And it's a revolving door of just good vibes, you know?
So music-wise, are we like at the future restaurant of Brunchaholics? Like, are you doing like chill? Is it gonna be a day party? Like type of vibe? Throw that ass in the circle, gonna be on rotation? Like, what is the vibes you want?
I mean, it's different dynamics. I'm still going through those. It's definitely gonna be fun. It's definitely going to be. It's definitely gonna be fun. It's definitely gonna be like a good time. I want it to still feel good, but I also want it to be like open and refreshing. I want people to feel good when they walk in. I don't know. Like I said, I'm still working my way around it, but I know.
Because you started brunching like day parties, right? Like your reviews were mainly.
No.
Oh, okay.
I said brunch, then go to the day party.
Oh, okay. So you don't do. So DC, like we do. Have you been to a DC day party?
No, but I've heard. So I know y'all do it a lot different. So it's like a party, and y'all do like the food, and it's like a buffet type stuff.
Listen,
but I really want to go because I want to try Kitchen Cray. So.
Oh yeah, I've been to Kitchen Cray many times. Well, since Kitchen Cray became big when I moved, like that's when they got the actual spots. But when I went home the first time, like since Kitchen Cray, I got it on Uber Eats. Like I didn't get to do it, but it's definitely good. It's definitely a good vibe. But our day parties are like, you sit and you're eating brunch and it's like a day party thing as well. So it's definitely like you go to brunch and you don't go home till like 10 o'clock at night. Like a type of, and you can stay at the same part. Like a lot of, honestly, if you were there, you would probably have a pop-up at a day party. Because that's kind of how like they do it. Like, you know, like you were saying, like I can name, Ozios does it. I don't know if they still do it. I don't live there anymore, but sorry guys. Ozios is a good place though. They have it where like, so some local person, I don't know, pops up and they have like a buffet type of thing with a bottle of mimosa. So you pay, I think it's like $60 to get in. And so that's food and that's bottomless mimosas. But if you want to buy like a drink or liquor or bottle, you can buy tables. So you can buy a table, but it's still set up so there's places for you to sit, so you're not necessarily standing and eating up until a certain time. I would say like probably around 2. That's when the buffets, like you would bring out no more food, like buffet's over. So people might be still eating, but then that's when it kind of transitions to full force, like club. But while like it's the brunch time, people are eating, but like music's playing. So if you want to get up and dance, if you want to order a hookah, you can during that time and all of that. But it's more about the seating situations. You know, Stir does this, like the rooftop. At a certain time, like they start pushing away tables and stuff like that. That's kind of how that's run. So that's a little different.
Yeah, I mean something like that would be cool, but that's not really my vision per se. I think a part of it would, and it's something I've thought about incorporating in some fashion, like, but not in that like big of a fashion. It would still be run more like a restaurant, but I do have like something similar to that planned, but it's not the whole thing. I don't know, it's hard to explain. Y'all see.
Can't share too much of it. But are you still gonna do brunch, like still dinners, all that? I will definitely. Like I love I'm more in Dallas, like the city. I think it's dope that you're still in the city, because when I did move here, I did notice, and even like, because after, you know, everything last year and the Black owned was pushed, there's a bunch of groups on Facebook, like Black owned restaurants, DFW, Black owned whatever, and a lot of them aren't in Dallas. Like a lot of them, you know, suburbs and all that. So it's dope to see like more places actually in the city, because I also think they're for everyone. Black owned places are, even though it is Black owned, everyone could support that, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think if you put it more in the city and more open to everyone, you get more of a crowd and it's more exposure. Because what he was saying, kind of like he was saying earlier, like you don't want people to go there just because it's Black owned. Like obviously your food speaks for itself, period. In the end, so that's but I'm saying, like, it's not just like, oh, he's good because, you know, we gotta support our people. No, like he's good because he's good. I would take anyone there to eat there.
Thank you.
So I think that's awesome. I love that stuff like that is happening in the city, because it also gives opportunity for more people to come than like necessary. Because I don't leave the Dallas area like.
Oh yeah, I don't either. I hate driving. I hate driving anyways.
I know, like I really don't leave the area. So for me, I'm not. To go, I think that's also a thing for me. If I'm traveling like 40, it's an experience, because anytime you have to travel to get anything, your expectations are like at 10. You know what I mean? Because you're like, I just did this to do this, so this is what's happening. So I think you can somewhat be unfair because you're coming into a situation with like all this expectations, but also like you're not enjoying stuff as much because you still have to drive home afterwards. You still have to do all of that. So I think it's dope, like in the city, people fly into town all the time and stay downtown. So if you have something within drive, like an Uber and less than $10 Uber, you're gold. Because that's what?
I mean, that's the main play, and that's why I like being in the city. Like I always want to stay in the city. This one, I feel like that's where my base is at. And when people want to come have a good time, that's where they're gonna come. Like the suburbs are cool, but for younger single people or just people trying to have a good time, enjoy the vibe, you know, I think it's a great place to be. So that's why I plan to open my restaurant, and that's why I like to stay in the city, because the city.
Did you grow up cities?
You said what?
Did you grow up cities?
Did I grow up?
Like grow up living in cities, or well, you're military, so you moved around.
Yeah, I moved around a lot, but yeah, I guess I lived in cities. Maybe did I? I don't know. Give me a little bit.
Hartford, no. He's East Coast. He's from Maryland, or he's not from Maryland.
I went to high school there.
He went to high school. I got really excited, guys, like because I saw his number. I was like, my people. And then he was like, yeah, kind of. And I was like, no, but you lived there long enough, so it counts. Like East Coast mentality. But definitely, I would say I didn't grow up cities. I grew up suburbs, but I would definitely say like I've traveled a lot, and I also I've traveled a lot, so therefore when I go places, I always try to stay downtown. Like I don't like staying out, and I'm looking for what's around me.
Right.
Which sometimes I do miss out on some things, especially I do miss out on some like black owned restaurant or small owned restaurant, like small business owned or like whatever. Because I try to be more cautious of that now, because before I honestly really looked for like the best price for anything. But now I try to because I think about, I have daughters, and like them growing up, if they started things, everyone has to start from somewhere. And I think you kind of actually have to own your own shit to like appreciate that more. Because everyone has to start from somewhere. Like none of these people were that big like right away. They all started from somewhere.
Right.
And so I try to, if I can be somewhere to help someone's journey for them to become like that shit, then like I'm gonna do it. So now I'm more cautious about when I go place, okay, what's small, like what's local, like what's black owned, what's woman owned. Like I try to kind of, you know, because now it's pretty easy, type in a hashtag.
Right.
Stop. I mean, no one can really use the argument they had no clue, because type it up. And so when I do that, and I have traveled the city, and I have noticed like, oh God, I have to go all the way up there, and I have to go, so it's kind of deterred me. So I do like the city aspect, because if you're traveling especially, and that kind of opens up your crowd to different places. Because you said people from all over are saying their friends or whatever saw your, and they want to try it. So think about when they're flying in, they'll probably stay downtown. So like, it might be easier for them, so.
No, I believe so. Yeah, downtown's the move, basically. Or anywhere within like 5 miles.
Yeah.
So like Uptown, Deep Ellum, was it? Bishop Arp's a little further out, but
they're like building that up.
Trinity Grove, yeah, Bishop Arp's building up. I think it's a little further out than 5 miles, but there's Trinity Grove, all of that, all those areas uptown. And then there's like little pockets, like East Dallas is, East Dallas. East Dallas is really growing. And so that's probably going to start being an area too.
Yeah. So what is East Dallas? Like,
Basically, like, past Deep Ellum, I guess. But
like
more
down?
further north, though, I would say. Like Ross. Like going that
Greenville?
way. Oh, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so Greenville Ave. Okay. See,
But,
I don't know.
but there's a lot of
names
space
like, the
before you
things.
get to Greenville, and that's what I'm talking about, that's growing. But
Okay.
I don't know, I look at different stuff, so.
I know. Like, I'm telling you, I'm very much just like within. I'm like, I like go on my little Google Maps. I'm like, tacos. What's like closest? I do try to look at the places, but if I'm going outside of the Dallas, like 8 miles, I'm planning it. So it's not like oh, it's open, let me drive by there, or what you're doing. Cause I'm a big happy hour person. So I love happy hour. So, but I'm not gonna get a happy hour out because 1, driving, 2, and 2, like, yeah, driving. I guess I really have one issue, driving. So that's why I kind of look at the area and things like that. So that is my one complaint. No, it's actually not my one complaint about Dallas, let's be honest. That's my one thing about Dallas. I'm always like, I wish I had had more places right there. So
Dallas is big, you from the East Coast, and I know living in Maryland, like everything's close. Like
yes, DC, you can walk the
close.
city and the thing. Or there's Metro, there's thing. The Metro here is so weird. You know you don't have to pay for that thing?
Yes, you do.
I mean, you don't really have to pay for it. You don't have to pay for it. I'm telling you, if that thing was in DC, you do not have to pay for it. There is no one there. There's not a gate stopping you from getting on it.
Yeah, but when you get on and the person's on there, you
I've been on it for State Fair. That's his shirt, State Fair. No one checked around. I was pissed.
I think it's free during that time.
Is it?
Yeah.
No one told me I paid for that. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, why did I pay for that? I remember buying the tickets and walking and be like, where's the gate? Who's stopping me?
In Houston on game day, the train's free too for the Texans game. So some people do it, some people don't, but
No.
that's probably why you think it's free. It's not free for sure.
In Dallas and New York, you have to jump a gate to get on the Metro if you don't buy a ticket. I was so confused because I bought it and I walked on and I was like, ooh, is this a joke? I was looking around and then of course I saw a couple homeless people on there that were riding it back and forth. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. They usually get them alone, bro, because you're gonna be. I used to ride the train to work for a year, so you definitely, but trust me, you have to pay.
Every day someone's walking on there?
Yeah, well, not every day, but it kind of depends on what time you get on too. But they have somebody get on. They'll come check your tickets, or sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just chill in the back of the car and make sure nobody's tripping. And
you don't have to pay to ride the Dallas Metro, people. If you come visit here, don't pay for that
I've definitely seen
shit.
people get caught. I'll trust you.
And what happens? They just kick you off the next stop.
Nah, you get a ticket. And then sometimes if you're tripping, they'll have the police waiting for you at the stop. I've seen that happen too.
Okay, maybe. I thought they just kicked you off, get out here. You didn't pay. I'm like, okay.
That's why I got the little pay station up there.
I mean, yeah, but listen, don't do that to me. I paid one time and I'm like, if I ever ride this thing again, I'm never paying for this again. This is stupid. Because it's not that, I don't know how much it was, but I could have spent that $5 somewhere else. But yeah. I'm saying. But anyways. I'm missing. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. We have obviously a lot of big things to look at you in the future. Brunch day party / not really day party, but restaurant. Brunchaholics coming soon.
Something like that. Something like that for sure is definitely coming.
But guys, make sure you check out Sorai every Saturday and Sunday. It's definitely worth the line, worth the wait. I've done it. It's super good. Make sure check out Pop-Up DFW Wednesdays for handhelds.
Pop-Up DFW.
So what? That's like burgers,
chicken sandwiches, fries, and I'm expanding the menu as I go. It's a new concept I'm working on. So I'm expanding the menu as I go, creating a base menu. So yeah.
So obviously, this is like, be a part of the journey, and because it's big things coming every year. Also, make sure you follow us at HiHighHunnies. We have our store open, www.HiHighHunnies.com. We have different weed kits you can get in different colors. Make sure you like and subscribe, comment, and we'll see you guys next time.